Harmony Biosciences is a small cap pharmaceutical company that produces pharmaceuticals for people with neurological conditions. And people find the drugs very effective. And as a result, the company's really been growing their top line revenues. They're also profitable and they generate a fair amount of free cash. All those things are really good. The stock price, for some reason, hasn't really moved over the last year, which is interesting. The company fundamentals look great, but the stock price really hasn't gone up at all. I'd like to take a look at this small cap and see if it's worth investing more of my capital into this company. I have a small investment in Harmony, and it's time to see what I want to do with it. Should I buy more shares, hold, or sell my shares in Harmony? Now, Harmony operates within a very specific area, some conditions that people suffer from, and I'm glad they found something that's going to help these people. But it's not a very massive market for this particular drug or the sets of drugs that they produce. So that's one area that I'll have to really take a look at to see what's their total addressable market. Is it small? Is it medium? Is it substantial? So that's important because that is maybe the reason why this stock is being held back. I'll go through the fundamentals and analyze the company. And I really like to get my head around three areas before I make a decision on the stock. First is I really want to understand the company, the industry, the management team, and really buy in completely because I will be a part owner if I'm a shareholder. Second, I want to look at the balance sheet, make sure the balance sheet doesn't have any big problems. And third, I want to look at the discount. I'm a value investor and I want to know that I'm getting a very good value when I enter a position with a stock. Before I jump into the fundamentals, let me just remind you, I'm an individual value investor, just sharing my experience, my journey as an investor. I'm not recommending that you buy Harmony stock. I'm not recommending you sell it. And I'm not providing any financial advice. Now let's take a closer look at Harmony. Harmony Biosciences has a market cap of $1.68 billion. It's a small cap. And the revenue is $617 million. If you look at the last trailing 12 months, the company is set to really grow this year. Their full 2024 number should be above 700 million. So they're going to really grow well. Their PE is nice and low at 12.2. And several analysts cover it, and they believe that the stock is really discounted at 48%. The stock really hasn't moved over the last year. It's down 17%. And year to date, it's actually down 4.66%. Now, I would also comment that in general, healthcare companies haven't been doing all that great, both in 2023 and 2024. It's interesting to me because I think that healthcare related companies, historically, if you look at the 10-year performance, they're a really good sector of stocks. They tend to perform really well. But I think right now, for some reason, just investors don't like them. They're very attracted to technology stocks, especially NVIDIA and other stocks that are really booming. You can't blame them looking at the returns that you've seen in technology. At some point, I think that those capital dollars will return to healthcare because healthcare is such an important sector, whether it's recession or boom period in the economy. We need our healthcare. And if people have a condition that requires a drug, a pharmaceutical, they will get that drug so that they can live a better life. Looking at their income statement, the revenue for the company is really good. It's been growing tremendously over the last 4 years. And if we look at the quarterly revenue, it continues to grow almost 30%. If you look at the first quarter that they closed in 2024 and was reported at the end of April. So the company continues to grow really well, both from the quarterly and from an annual perspective. The balance sheet's in great health. They have a lot of cash on the balance sheet, around $372 million, and they have very little debt. Total debt's $190 million. So they can pay off all their debt if they wanted to immediately, but they also produce EBITDA. So overall, the balance sheet's a really strong balance sheet for this small cap company. The cash flow is really positive. Over the trailing 12 months, the company produces a fair amount at a level of $207 million. That's really good. It's great to see a company just clicking on all cylinders. They're growing their top line, they're profitable, and they're generating a lot of free cash. 9 analysts cover Harmony, and they have overall a buy rating on the stock, and they believe on average that it's discounted by 48%. That's a substantial discount. The highest analyst stock target is $69 per share, and the lowest being $27 per share, and the stock is trading at $29.65. The forecast for earnings per share is that they're going to do $2.97 in 2024, and they're going to really grow that earnings per share over the next 3 years. So a really strong forecast for earnings per share. All this just shows that what's wrong with the stock price? Why is it not higher? Great earnings per share, fundamentals are really good. It's really an interesting situation with this stock. Harmony reported their earnings for the first quarter of 2024 on April 30th, and they had a lot of good news in the earnings, leading with revenue went up 30% in the quarter compared to the year prior. And overall, they're doing a lot of things to expand their product lines. They're going into rare epilepsy and trying to help people in that area. Overall, they reiterated their revenue. They expect the revenue is going to be between 700 million and 720 million for the full year. That's real positive because last year it was less than 600 million in revenue. So that growth rate is going to continue on an annual basis. The company expects to be profitable and it continues to generate really strong free cash flow. So, what do I think Harmony Biosciences is worth? Well, I'd like to value the company based on their free cash flows. I also like to value the company based on earnings per share. Starting with their free cash flows, I expect the company is going to produce cash flows starting with $207 million in trailing 12 months. Over the next 4 years, I'm going to grow those free cash flows by about 10%. And then after year four, grow them by 4%. That shows a forecast of all the cash flows that I expect from the company. I'm going to discount all those free cash flows by 12%. That's a high discount rate because this is a small company. And I get a net present value of all those cash flows of $2.7 billion. The cash on the balance sheet is $372 million and the debt is 190. So it gives me a equity value for Harmony of 2.9 billion. The current market cap is 1.6 billion. So overall, it's a nice 74% discount if we look at the value of the free cash flows versus the current stock price. Earnings per share is expected to be $2.97. When you use a PE of 18, it's a growing company. It deserves an 18 in my mind. And I'm going to grow those earnings per share by 10%, which is conservative. Looking at their overall forecast, it's going to be much higher than that. When I use those figures, I get a discount on the stock of 98% because their earnings are going to be so good in the next 3 to 4 years. When I blend the two, I get an 82% discount on this small cap. The total addressable market for Harmony is going to be limited. They treat certain illnesses and conditions that I think a fraction of the population have to deal with. And it's an area of science that is not very fairly known. Therefore, I think investors are going to shy away from this stock. The fundamentals are really strong, but the total addressable market is not huge. I think they can continue to grow since they are relatively small for a long time. But that's just one reality of this company is it's not a big company treating a very big addressable market of patients that have a particular illness or a condition that needs their pharmaceuticals. Overall, I think it's a really interesting company and they may get acquired. The products they produce, I think, are in high demand. They're very profitable and they generate a lot of free cash. I think a larger pharmaceutical may want to acquire Harmony. So, should I buy more shares of Harmony, hold, or sell my shares? Well, let me look at the three areas that I like to look at before I buy a stock. First, it's a company. Do I like the company, the industry, the management team? Do I like the type of science and pharmaceuticals they're producing? Overall, it's yes to all the above. It is a niche biosciences company, but I think their niche is going to be big enough for them to continue to grow. And they have the opportunity with a strong balance sheet to continue to expand, maybe acquire other companies and diversify their product portfolio. With regards to the balance sheet, they have a high quality balance sheet with more cash than they have debt, and they continue to produce free cash flow. So the balance sheet is very strong. The discount is tremendous, just a very high discount on Harmony. With that in mind, I'm going to buy more shares. I've been very careful with my investment in Harmony. I haven't invested a whole lot, but at this point, I'm going to invest a little more capital and continue to monitor the stock. Hopefully, it catches fire and it goes up in value because I think that the stock price should be higher based on the fundamentals of this small cap company. Hey, thank you for watching my video. I really appreciate it. I hope you found it interesting, and I'd love to see your comments on Harmony Biosciences. Thanks again for watching. Good luck investing.